Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach.
My name is Ilana Blumenthal. I work with Volunteers for Israel, which I think you all know about. So I won't take up time with that. But if you have any questions or are interested in volunteering as a civilian on an IDF base in Israel, please email me. I'm happy to have a private Zoom, happy to have a phone call, whatever you're comfortable with, and answer any of your questions. Many of us here, if you don't recognize them, have been volunteering on bases. I think we have someone who just said he was here in 1987, right, Howie?
That was my first time.
That was his first time in 1987, and the program only started in 1982. So we've had people who volunteered for many years. I myself have done 3 times and plan to keep going as much as I can. Having said that, we're, in the middle of, still, I hate to say in the middle of COVID, but we're having another wave, and Israel is experiencing that. They recently announced in Jerusalem Post, and I think a few other places, that originally they had moved it from July 1st as a time when people could start coming in to August 1st. And now it just came out the other day that August 1st is no longer the date when we can go back, but another date was not given. So we're just waiting. Anytime you come to our Shmoo sessions or when we start up again with season 2 of VFI Educates, we'll update you with any information we have. We're constantly sending out emails to those interested in the program. So just feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat. And if you can't read the chat, I'm happy to just say it out loud. But just ask any questions you need, and I'll make sure to keep everybody updated. So we have a special speaker today. We don't usually have speakers in our Shmoo sessions, but we have Zabo, much like Prince, just one name we go by, Zabo, who is with Pam. Pam, I think a lot of you know, but some of you don't. So Pam is going to introduce Zabo, who will give his talk on the Dakar. Okay, go.
Okay, hi everyone.
Wait, I'm also going to mute everyone. Sorry, Pam, and then you'll just unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay, first of all, lots of people are sending me messages in the chat, but since I'm going to be helping with this, I'm not going to be able to answer the messages. So I say hi to everybody. And
if anyone has any questions, feel free to type the question in the chat, either privately or publicly, and we'll get to your questions after the program. Or if it's more time sensitive, I'll answer them since Pam's going to be leading the program.
Yeah, we'll answer the questions after. Answer any questions about the presentation after the presentation.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so I would like to introduce Zabo. His full name is Avraham Ben Zeev. So he's known as Avi to some people. He is known as Avraham to his family, who still call him, Avrumshala, or all the various nicknames that they have for Avrahams. But to everybody in the Navy, in the whole Navy world of Israel, he is known as Zabo. So let me just, okay, Ilana, talk me through this again. Oh, now
You're gonna, at the bottom, that green button, click share, and then click your screen or just the presentation. Okay. Double click. Great.
All right, and then
now you're going to pick presentation mode.
Oops, wait. No. Wait, I have to get back to the beginning of it. Okay.
It looks like the first slide, Pam. Oh, there. Okay.
Okay. So, you want to start or what?
No, leave it.
Wait. Let me move this. Okay.
So what did he do here?
Okay, cool.
This is the first picture?
Yeah.
Okay. So, good evening, everybody. As you heard, I'm Pamela boyfriend for about almost 20 years.
No, not quite.
Since she came to Israel. And I'm going to tell you one of the things that happened to me in my life here in the Navy. First of all, I was an officer in the Navy in Israel since I was 18 years old up to 40 years old. Many, many years. And at the end, I was
Aluf Mishne.
Aluf Mishne, which is in English.
It corresponds to a captain in the Navy, or it would correspond to a colonel in the Army. So it's a high-ranking officer.
And I'm going to give you my lecture in English, but I'm going to read half of it, and the other half Pamela will tell you, because she knows the story better than me.
In English.
Not only in English. I start to show you and to explain you a little bit the basic or the principle of the submarine. You know, a submarine is a long pipe. Here you can see the pipe, which going up to there. It's a long pipe which we put around him some tanks, and we can take the pipe under the water and going with him above the water. Here you can see half of the submarine under the water, the bridge, and the sonar. Here in the front is the sonar. Sonar is the machine that can hear noise under the water, noise under the water, and the main thing that we have to listen to is the what the propellers, the rush, no,
the noise of the propeller.
The noise of the propeller. And here, this is the sonar, we heard it, and then we can know how many propellers, how many knafayim, no? Knafayim. How many
wings?
How many wings each propeller has. And from this information, most or less, we can know which is the ship that is above us.
If some of you have seen some of the submarine movies on TV, you know, in fact, the most recent one, what was it called? Kursk, I think. You hear how submarines go under and the crew is listening to the other noise of other submarines. So,
and here you can see principle. And this is the submarine under the water. The submarine, by the way, this is the Dakar. You can see all the, how you call it?
Well,
this is electrical, which is a higher. The submarine can talk and hear under the water. Here you have the periscope. Here you have the pipe that the engine take air and to snort under the water, and this submarine going from left to right. Under the water, here is in the middle of the submarine. By the way, you can see me 52 years ago. This is when we control the submarine, we have to see what is the depth that we are. This is the high depth, this is low depth.
Now this equipment inside this submarine is from back in the Dakar, okay, a long time ago. Nowadays, everything is very updated and everything is done by computers.
See the difference?
So this is all the second one was computers.
Yeah. This is the way how the crew are living in the submarine.
These are the beds where they sleep. And the beds are called, go back to it for a second. The beds are called, in Hebrew, it's called hot beds. And the reason they're called hot beds or warm beds is because when part of the crew is sleeping, the rest of the crew is on duty. So, and then when the duty crew is ready to sleep, they come and take over the beds. So the beds are always warm. So they're called warm beds.
This is the
Kitchen
of the submarine, which make food for around 50 people. This is the torpedo. The torpedo which the submarine shoot it has here the propeller, two of them, one going to the right, the other one going to the left. Here is the wheel, and here in the at the front of it is about half a ton of TNT. This is the way how it's going out of the submarine, the torpedo. And what is this?
No, just go to the next one.
No, go. This is the missile. We can shoot missiles under the water. And this is the old two submarine that Israel bought before they were born. They were made before the Second World War in the English Navy. And this is the only submarine that we can boat. They were very old submarine. You see, each one has a gun here, because some of the attack they did when they were on surface. We took part in, this is another story, we took part with one of them in the 6-day war, and we did very well. And this, we are going to read it.
Well, first, now talk about when you went to school and stuff.
Huh?
Before this,
No.
when you started your training.
No, tell them.
No, you.
Tell them. No, tell them.
Would you please?
ב-9 לינואר 1968 סיימה דקר את משימותיה בבריטניה ועמדה להרים עוגן ולהפליג ארצה. לאחר טקס צבאי מרשים, ביום חורבי מעונן ומושלג, נתקעה צוללת דקר מרציף הדלק בבסיס הצוללות בפורטסמות'.
And if you want, you can talk through it.
Okay, this is the ceremony from when we bought the submarine, which was in 1960. We bought it in 1965. Okay, the Dakar was bought from England in 1965, and it went through renovations, total reconstruction, and it was done there in Portsmouth, England. And in 1967, all of the renovations were completed. Zabo was a young naval officer at the time. He had gone to naval school for high school from age 14 to 18. And then he had training for the submarine unit. And then he was assigned, to be on the Dakar. And in 1967 is when actually this story starts.
And this is when we took the submarine on the way to Israel. And although they talk in Hebrew, but the principal, they said that in the January
9th is when it left, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
We'll go to that later.
Okay. So through the construction, you can see again the submarine on the dock over there. This is the front, and here is the rear of the submarine. You can see here the depth wheel, and here is the propeller.
And there he is as a young naval officer. Okay, this is the ceremony of when the crew was, these are all the officers, and they were taking over because now the submarine was completed.
Yeah, when we finished the refit over there in England, we make this ceremony. You can see again the submarine here. Here is the crew, the captain of the submarine, and two high-rank officers, which came special from Israel to this ceremony. Here again, all the officers of the submarine at the same. And here they started making picture in color. So this is one of them.
And those of you who have done Sarel know what Mizdar means. So this is the ceremony of where they stand at attention, and he's telling him that now the Dakar is becoming an Israeli submarine because it's finished being retrofitted. And here they're getting the certificate of it.
And then here we raise the Israeli flag, and we put
Sefer Torah
in the submarine.
Every submarine in Israel has a Torah.
And from that moment, the Dakar became an Israeli submarine completely. Then we took the submarine and we went with her to Scotland. Why to Scotland? Because over there was a training base, special training base, and we went there for 6 weeks to train. We went out at Monday, we came back Friday afternoon, and we trained at the beginning on surface, then in low depths, and then in a high depth. And for 6 weeks, we were at sea, and we trained the submarine.
In Scotland, in that particular training base, all the British submarines went there because they had special things set up so that they could do all of the training.
And here is a special thing in Hebrew, which I'm not going to read it for you, but our captain, Yaakov Ra'anan, he was a special person. He was very smart. I admire him. I had a lot of commanding officers, which they were my commanders in the Navy, because I told you I was 20 years in the Navy, even more than that. And Captain Ra'anan, Yaakov Ra'anan, he was the best of them.
On the way back from on the way to Scotland, the captain told them all, you are not supermen, okay? Everybody makes mistakes. And when you make a mistake, you have to be punished for it some way. Because don't forget, these people, most of them, like Zabo, hadn't been trained on a submarine before. The training that he had before he actually got onto the submarine was just technical training. You know, you're told what to do, but your real training doesn't begin until you're actually on the submarine. So Yaakov Ranan told them all, okay, so what are we going to do when you make a mistake? You're going to have to write a poem about your mistake, and you're going to have to make sure it rhymes, okay? So you have to actually write a rhyming poem, and then you have to stand up in front of the rest of the officers, and you have to read your poem. And if you don't do a good enough job, and if the rest of the officers think you didn't do a good job, then you have to go back and redo your poem and do it again the next day. So there are a couple examples here of the poems, but we're not going to do it. He wrote the first one, and the first one, obviously he didn't make a mistake, but he wrote, this is the rules of writing poems if you make a mistake. Zabo tells to his Israeli audiences, because people always ask him, well, how many times did you have to write a poem? So he always says the whole time he was in this part of the training, he never, ever, ever did anything wrong, because there was no way he was going to write a poem and stand up in front of people and read it.
I was afraid to write down the poem, but I'm not going to read the poem that I have, but I'm going, because one of them, the chief engineer, he wrote a poem and he wrote the music to the poem.
That's this guy. This is the second poem. His name is Ron Shimon, and he did something wrong. Do you want to tell what he did wrong?
No.
Okay, I'll tell. He did something wrong because everybody on a submarine has to carry a big flashlight. Back in those days, they didn't have the LED things, so everybody had a big flashlight that you wore around your neck, and it was very large, and it was a rule. You had to wear it all the time, because if the electricity went out or if something happened and you needed to see, you needed to have your flashlight. Well, this guy was, a little bit a senior officer, and he just figured, I don't need a flashlight. So one day or one night, something happened, and the captain, Ranan, came to him and said, okay, Ron, let me have your parnas, let me have your flashlight. And Ron said, I don't have one. I'm not wearing it today. I don't have one. And so the captain, Yaakov Ranan, said, okay, write your poem. So he, as Zabo said, he was a music person too. So he made a song to it. So we're just going to play the song so you can hear a little bit of it. And it shows, the pictures show other people. They all were singing to the music. And basically it says, I didn't have my parnas with me, and the captain came and, wanted to see. And so I got punished because I didn't have it with me. Okay. Okay, this is just showing a map of, up on the top here, this is England. Oh, this is England, the big one.
This is England, over there is Scotland. And we were here when we finished our training. The plan was that we will go from Scotland down to Portsmouth for about few days, prepare ourselves to go back to Israel. The time was the end of December. And
on the way back from Scotland to Portsmouth, the captain, Ranan, said to Zabo, we have a new development, a top secret that nobody knows yet. Israel bought another submarine from England called the Dolphin, and you, Zabo, and 4 other submariners who aren't officers, Zabo was the only officer, the 5 of you are going to transfer to the Dolphin, and you're going to bring the Dolphin back a couple weeks after the Dakar leaves.
Couple of days.
Well, you're going to leave a couple days.
Yeah.
So Zabo was very upset about this, and because he loved it, as he said, he admired his commander, he loved him, he wanted to come back with him. He said, I was here for the whole, retrofitting of the submarine. I was here for all of your training. I want to come back. And the captain said, look, an order is an order, and that's it. So that was the story. So Zabo and the other 4 submariners transferred to the Dolphin. And also on the way back, when they came into the port on at the end of December, and this is all 1967, the end of December of 1967, they came into the port of Portsmouth, and it was full of British submarines. And the end of December, so it was Christmas time. Okay.
Go back?
Yeah, go back to that.
Oh.
And it was the end of December, so it was Christmas time. So on all the bridges of all the submarines sitting there in the port were Christmas trees. And Ranan said to Zabo, look there are all those Christmas trees over there. I'm going to make a bargain with you, a barter with you, he said. I want you to build a Hanukkah for the Dakar, for the bridge of the Dakar, because it's Hanukkah time also, and we're an Israeli submarine. We can't just have everybody with their Christmas trees. We have to have a Hanukkah on it also. And he said, I'm going to give you, this is the sign of the Dakar. And I have the original one here, which he gave to Zabo, and Zabo has it to this day. So this was back in 1967, and he has it still, and it's been in every single office in the Navy that he's ever worked in, and on every single submarine and wherever he worked in the Navy, this followed him. And he said, I'm going to give this to you, and you'll make a Hanukkah. And Zabo says it was the end of December. Everything was closed in Portsmouth. It wasn't exactly easy to go find things to make a Hanukkah, but he, scoured the garages and the junk places, and they managed to build a big Hanukkah for the bridge. Unfortunately, there's no picture of it, which is really too bad, but it was a very, very special thing. And all the families, now you have to understand, some of these people from the Dakar were down there from 1965 until 67. They were down there when all of the, construction was going on. So their families came, many of their families came, and children. And every night during Hanukkah, they came to the bridge of the Dakar and they lit the candles. So it's a very, very special time. This is the captain. This is Ranan. We're going to play a little bit of a song, which is a very famous song in Israel. And it happens to be, it's going to be in Hebrew, but the translation of it are the words of "O Captain, My Captain," the poem by Longfellow.
Can you turn it up?
Turn it up. And these are just different pictures of Yaakov Ranan. How old was he?
34.
He was about 34 years old.
Leave it, leave it. This is all the officers on the bridge of the Dakar when she left Portsmouth on the way to Israel. Here you can see the Dolphin and the Dakar. The Dolphin, the submarine that I was on
That he transferred to.
the transfer to, it's here, and over there is the Dakar, and you can see the officers on the bridge, and they are preparing themselves. And they are preparing themselves to go to Israel now. And here the captain gives the order to start moving.
זו הייתה השריקה האחרונה. ועם היציאה מפתח הנמל אל הים הפתוח.
Now here the Dakar left the port over there in Portsmouth and start going to Israel.
And this was January 9th of 1968.
And then she went to Gibraltar, and then after 24 hours, they came into the Mediterranean and went under the water all the time. The plan was that she will be under the water all the way in the Mediterranean. She will come to Haifa. Haifa is here. Here is Cyprus. And she disappeared here on the red point here. After few days after the Dakar left Portsmouth,
The Dolphin.
the Dolphin also.
The Dolphin left on January 15th, so 6 days after the Dakar, and it also stopped in Gibraltar because all the submarines stopped in Gibraltar and they got extra supplies in Gibraltar.
And when we were about here, if you can see my sign, here, the Dakar disappeared. And we heard it in the radio, and they told us that something happened to the Dakar, and we have to start looking for there and on this area.
They used to get, the submarine has to send messages to the Navy offices back in Israel every 6 hours. So every 6 hours, no matter where they are, they have to send a message back. And at that point, which was on January 25th, was the last message. And then, as he said, then the Dakar, the Dolphin crew heard from headquarters that there was no connection anymore, no messages coming from the Dakar.
And then became a storm there, a strong wind with a high waves. You can see it here in the picture. This is the front of the submarine. See the storm and
This is the radio announcement, the announcement saying that the Dakar is missing and the crew from the Dolphin is searching for it. And this is the way the sea looked when they were searching.
And this is at night.
until about,
About what?
you were on watch. You wanted to be on watch.
And I asked my captain on the Dolphin that I'm going to be the officer on watch on the bridge all the time that we are looking after the summer, after the Dakar, because normally the watch on the bridge that when the submarine is going on surface, every 2 hours the officers change. And I said to him, I don't care, I'm going to stay on the bridge as long as we are searching and looking after the Dakar. And I was there more than 2 days on the bridge. And then at the end, in this storm, and at the end, we got the order, okay. We didn't find her. Some other vessel will look after her, and you go to Haifa port.
This was a newsreel, the old kind of newsreels. And what it'll be saying is that, okay, the Dakar was missing,
No.
and now
This is the Dolphin.
the Dolphin is now coming back to Israel, and so this is the returning of the Dolphin. And Zabo says, and Israelis who, you know, were there at the time say that the Carmel, you know, mountains were like full of people, and the port was just full of people, because people still couldn't believe that the Dakar was really missing. Stop it. People didn't believe that the Dakar was really missing. So they were hoping that maybe there was a mistake. We're going to show you one picture. Okay. This is a picture of Zabo's mother meeting him at the port when the Dolphin came back. And his mother did not know the whole time.
About 6 days.
Yeah, for about 6 days that he had transferred to the other submarine. They didn't have telephones in their houses that day. Certainly there were no messages, and there was no way for anybody to tell anybody. And finally, after about 6 days, they got a message.
From the Navy.
Yeah, someone from the Navy came to her and said, your son had been transferred to the other submarine.
Okay.
This is Haifa Radio, Haifa Radio, Haifa Radio. Please listen on 2649 kilocycles, standby. Israeli Navy submarine, take care. All ships in area, keep sharp lookout and inform us if sighted.
So that was something that was announced, you know, for all of the ships in the area, and there also was one in Hebrew. But nothing, with all of the searching, and the searching kept on going on for all these years. It turned out for 31 years, the searching kept going on, but nothing was ever found.
So meanwhile, the Navy built in
Har
Herzl, in Herzl Mountain, memorial of the Dakar. You can see here the submarine. Here you have the name of the Dakar. This is the sea around here. And when you are going around and going down on the stairs over there, you can see this picture.
This is the inside of the memorial, and there were 69 submariners on it.
So all around you have the name of the 69, And every time when I'm going down there, even now, I am very, very, very excited.
Emotional.
Emotional.
This is the outside of it.
This is the outside, the bridge of the Dakar. In Hebrew, it's written here, Lezecher Achi Dakar Tzadik 77. For the memory of the INS Dakar, Tzadik 77.
That was the number of the Dakar, 77.
77.
And we won't play that. That's another very famous, wait, go back. That's also another very famous song. You see the Navy people all around this. Every year at the end of January, there's an official state ceremony at this place at Har Herzl, down by the memorial of the Dakar, and Navy personnel are brought there, and all the families of the Dakar and political people are brought there, and they have a special memorial service. It's a very, very serious, serious event, and it's done every year at the end of January, because January 25th was when the last message. So January 25th is the official date of when it was lost. No, go to that.
Why?
Because that's good. A year after the Dakar was missing, they found this near, and you can see it says Dakar, it's from the Dakar, and they found it near Gaza. Some little kids.
On the shore.
Some little kids were playing there, and some kids found it. They have no idea. There is no rhyme or reason as to how it wound up being there. There's no explanation. And it was a year afterwards. And so after that, of course, they kept on looking even more in different areas, thinking it, maybe the Dakar was closer to Gaza or something like that. But they never found it. And there's just no reason why this floated over there. And this is up at the Navy Museum in Haifa.
So this is again the Mediterranean here. It's Haifa. The submarine missing here in this point. And after 31 years, the American Navy found a submarine in the Mediterranean in depths of 6,000 meters, something like that. So we said, we have technology to find things in a big depth. Because before that, they were looking and they tried to find the Dakar before there, and we didn't find it because we thought that the Dakar is not more than 400 meters down. So we try in this area and in this area and in this area, we didn't find it. But when they said, now we can find things in a big or deep. So the American Navy.
It wasn't the Navy. It was a company that found the Titanic, and it was a special company that was,
They had all these special equipment.
Right.
So they came here and they went straight to the place where the Dakar sent the last message, and we found it. They found the submarine on the floor in the sea, in depths of
300 meters.
300 meters.
3 kilometers. Through all of the searching, a lot of people said, there were all kinds of theories. A lot of people said, okay, maybe the captain went off track. And Zabo said, no, this captain would not go 1 single millimeter off track. That's the way he was. And there were different theories that the Russians got involved and that the Egyptians got involved and that there was something, blew it up or something. There were all kinds of different theories. And as it turns out, it was exactly on track, exactly how it was supposed to come back to Haifa. And in fact, there was an Egyptian officer who bragged to everybody that he was the one responsible for, destroying the Dakar, for targeting the Dakar, and that he was responsible. And he got a special medal from the Egyptian Navy and everything. Well, in the Yom Kippur War, Israel happened to capture this particular officer. They took away his medal, obviously, and they said, you were not responsible for it. And at this time, we hadn't found the Dakar yet, but they said, you weren't responsible for it. You didn't do anything. So, we're taking away your medal. But anyway, these are some things that they found down
This
at the
is
bottom of the floor.
the front of the Dakar down there in 3,000 meters. In the
300
sea,
meters.
3,000 meters.
Okay.
And again, this is the submarine down there. This is the, how you call it, no? Again.
The wheel.
The wheel of the Dakar down there. We saw that lot of,
Crabs
of
and
crabs
animals.
and animals were there in the submarine. So we knew for sure that we will not find any body after 31 years. They will not find anybody over there. We took out the compass of the Dakar, and we took a special bag there, which was near the submarine on the shore over there, on the floor. We opened it and we found a
uniform.
A uniform of a submariner.
And the pin.
That he was on the Dakar, and the pin that we had, each one of us had a number. So we look at the number and we found that it belonged to
Almog Yosef.
Almog Yosef. And
the uniform is at
the uniform, we put it in the...
First they gave it to the parents, and then the parents donated it to the museum, in the Naval Museum in Haifa.
This is the part of the bridge that break, and it was on the floor near the submarine. We took it and we put it in the
they cleaned it up.
Museum.
They made a special stand for it. On the left side, this is how it looked when they brought it up, or before it went. And they cleaned it up and they put it on this special stand, and it's at the Naval Museum in Haifa, and it can be seen by anybody driving into Haifa from either direction from the highway up there. 31 years later,
after we found the Dakar, the family asked to do something on the way that we found the submarine.
They found the submarine, by the way, on May 28th. of 1999, which happens to be Zabo's birthday. So a lot of people said, oh, it's very mystical because he was so involved in the Dakar for his whole life, and now they found it on his birthday. So they decided, so the families wanted something that was a little bit more family oriented and, not as serious as the official state ceremony. So every year at the end of May, usually the last Friday in May, there's a special ceremony at in Haifa, in the Bay of Haifa, and the Navy brings out a submarine, and then hundreds of sailboats come from all over Israel and circle the Dakar, circle the submarine. This just talks about it a little bit. So they circle the submarine, and then at 10 o'clock, there's a special siren that goes off. And about the flowers, there are sailors on the submariners that come onto the submarine, and then they throw wreaths into the water. And then all of the families are on one of the big boats, you saw it before in the other picture. There's a big boat that holds all of the families that want to participate. And then all of these sailboats then have a race from Haifa to Akko every year. And these are from...
Here you see the flowers, and I want to show you how many boats are coming every year to this ceremony.
It's usually a couple hundred sailboats that come.
And this is again the captain. And
this is something showing in 2014, Israel got a new submarine from Germany, okay? Because now we get the submarines from Germany. And this was it the first one that came from Germany?
No, the second.
The second one that came from Germany. And now when submarines come, they have they stop over the spot where the Dakar went missing, and they have a special ceremony. And this one shows that special ceremony, and Zabo was invited to go on this one with one of the other guys from the Dakar who transferred over with him. And here it shows that submarine. It's called the Tanin, and it shows it coming up out of the water. And you might be able to tell who's on the right there. He was the chief of staff in 2014, Benny Gantz. And on the left was the head of the Navy.
And now he is the
Minister of Defense.
Minister of Defense.
And there's Zabo with them. And this is a picture of the 69 submariners. Also, these pictures are all at the Navy Museum. This is a picture of them with their names, and another picture of it. Mm-hmm. And all of these are at the Navy Museum. So if you ever go to the Navy Museum, you'll see all of these different names and the uniform and parts of the equipment and information about it. At the end now, this is the end. Zabo obviously took out a lot of stuff that was just in Hebrew, but there's something that
there's something in Hebrew that I want to read.
Okay, Zabo's going to read something in Hebrew. And first we're going to tell you what it is. Those of you who know what gematria is, which is the words that correspond to certain letters and numbers in Hebrew. And in gematria, if anybody knows what samech tet means, anybody?
If not, you will tell
If not,
me.
I will tell you. Samach Tet means 69. Now, there were 69 submariners on the Dakar who lost their lives. The 69th Psalm.
When you are taking it out.
I'm going to read it in English after he reads it in Hebrew.
Okay.
We just read it in Hebrew.
Yeah. למנצח על שושנים לדוד, הושיעני אלוהים כי באו מים עד נפש. טבעתי בים מצולה ואין מעמד. באתי במעמקי מים ושיבולת שטפתני. יגעתי בקורי, ניחר גרוני, כלו עיניי מייחל לאלוהי.
And in English, I'll read it. For the conductor on Shoshanim of David, save me, O God, for water has come up to my soul. I have sunk in muddy depths, and there is no place to stand. I have come into the deep water, and the current has swept me away. I have become weary from calling out. My throat has become parched. My eyes fail while I wait for my God. So it's really unbelievable that it's Psalm 69 and there were 69 submariners. And this is just another song about the sea. There are lots and lots of songs. There are lots of songs about the sea, and there are lots of songs that were written about the Dakar after it sank. And actually, even a lot of children were named Dakar after the Dakar sank. And that's the end of the abbreviated presentation. So if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pam and Zabo. This was incredibly interesting for me. I'm sure for everyone else. I know my dad knew a little bit about it, and we've been to the memorial, but I think I love that there were movies in this. There was footage. I think it brought it to life.
A lot of it we didn't do because it was just Hebrew, so we skipped some.
I thought it was perfect amount.
Good, thank you. Zabo gives these lectures. He's been giving lectures for years and years and years and years. And he gives them all over Israel to the Navy, to the IDF, to schools, to retirement homes, to organizations, to private people who just have, private groups at their homes, all different kinds of people, religious people, non-religious people, just everywhere, all over Israel. And he doesn't usually give them in English, so.
And that's how you know everything.
That's why I talk so much. So usually
something that surprised me, the people in where the team
religious,
the religion from
Bnei Brak.
From Bnei Brak. You know that Bnei Brak is a place in Israel that a lot of religion live there. The most that asked me to come and to give my lecture are over there in Bnei Brak.
He gives to so many different groups in Bnei Brak, and they keep on wanting. But everybody, and most Israelis over a certain age, of course, remember it. They remember it. And when he's talking to many audiences, there's always somebody in the audience who has some kind of connection. Either they had a nephew or a cousin or a relative on the Dakar, and this happens quite often.
And you saw how good Pamela is, that she knows every sentence,
I've heard it hundreds of times. Okay.
She knows everything.
You're very lucky. If you could, Pam, stop sharing, and then I'll still highlight you, but I want to be able to see some other people as well.
Apela, I have a question to ask you.
Okay, and then once you
find out already what is the cause of the Dakar to sink?
What's the cause? Why did it sink?
Tell you the truth, we don't know. We tried to understand, and we went down. After we found it, we went down with a small
Camera. Small
Help me.
camera.
Camera?
She
Camera,
speaks
yes,
Israeli.
with small camera, and we went around and around and around many times, and we tried to understand what happened to the submarine, why she sank, and we didn't find the real reason. So we stood with the main two reasons that we think happened to them. Is one that it was a failure and the submarine sank, and the other one
Some
was-
kind of technical failure. It had something to do with
Did they find? Did they
water.
search for?
Yeah.
Did they search for bodies? Bones would remain.
No, after 31 years, nothing remained over there.
Where is the bones?
Normally,
Won't disappear.
we know that the עצמות, איך אומרים עצמות?
Bones.
Yeah, they
Bones.
remain, but after 31 years, nothing remains.
No bones even.
All right. All right, let's, I want to read through some of the questions in the chat.
Okay, 1 second before you start. I just want to show my t-shirt because a lot of people ask me what this t-shirt was. Every year when they have the race at the end of May for the family, so every year we have a new t-shirt with a logo of the Dakar and then saying which year that is of that particular since we started doing those races. So that's what the t-shirts
When
are.
we started to do it, I was sitting there in a special meeting, and we thought what we are going to do. And at the end, it comes that the Navy will give us submarine, and all the other people will come with their boat, and we will do something in the sea. And while we were talking there, I got an idea that I'll have a special t-shirt for this ceremony. So in the middle of the meeting, I went out, I called one of my friends, and I asked him, can you make me 1,000 t-shirts with a submarine on it? He said, I'll check it. And I got it. And then every year, while at that time I was working, so every year I found one of my clients
To donate.
He donate the t-shirt, and then I stopped working. I didn't have someone. So until the last time I was searching and I found someone, and then I said, okay, 22 years, it's enough. Now you will
Okay.
find it, the young people.
Okay, I see the chats, Alana.
You kind of before you start answering them, I see a few people are leaving. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's come to the program, and to remind you that every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we are having a schmooze throughout the summer. Just come, talk to us, give us updates, talk about things going on in Israel, your life. Pam usually gives us an update, and then we'll start again with BFI Educates in September, where we'll have one tour, probably either a tour or a speaker every week. But you should, sorry, go ahead.
No, I see that Julia is here. So Julia
is here. She's gone now. Yeah,
she's
Julia,
gone.
who is our official tour guide for our VFI Plus programs, usually runs these things, but not during our summer schmooze, but she was here. Pam, I see the first actual question being Harry's, unless you have another one.
Harry, where's Harry's? Let's see.
He said, if you want me to read them, I can. If you want to answer them, I can read them.
Okay, wait a second. I see Alvin's. Did you ask?
It wasn't a question. Those are comments. So I didn't say it. If you'd like me to say comments, I can, but we usually just read questions.
No. Alvin just said about 6 weeks, that he said 6 weeks of training doesn't seem like a a lot, but it was very, very intensive training. And, you know, that's what it was. He says it doesn't seem like enough.
It was enough.
It was enough.
Okay, Harry asked, was permission needed to photograph all of the photos of the submarine? I don't know what you mean by that. Or was it common knowledge back then and no big deal? What do you mean photograph the photos, Harry?
You mean, did you have to get a license or a special permit to be able to photograph the things? You mean, you mean inside the submarine?
Did you need permission to photograph inside the submarine?
Oh, was it secret? They took pictures inside the submarine. Was it top secret that you couldn't take pictures? I guess not.
Inside the submarine?
Yeah, with all those
At
pictures.
that time, definitely. But now, in our time, we can, although if you have something, you can show it. But with the submarine that we have now, I'm not allowed even to go close to the submarine, not to take a picture. Everyone who is coming there, even the crew, they have to put their telephone outside. They are not allowed to take picture, not at all.
A couple of years ago, Zabo's greatest dream would be to go back into a submarine. Okay, this was the best years of his life, was in a submarine. And a few years ago, he talked to one of the head of the Navy and said, okay, look I'm retired, I'm out of the submarines, but I want to go back onto a submarine. And I want to go out, not just onto a submarine in the
Go
dock.
under the water.
And sure enough, he got permission and he had to get medical and he had to see a doctor and then the special Navy doctor had to come on the submarine while he was doing it, but he did get his wish and he was able to go on one of the submarines. And the funny thing is, it was, all computerized the way we said, not the way it used to be when he did it. And they asked him, do you want to press the controls or something? Do you want to do something? He said, are you kidding? I wouldn't press those controls. I'll look through the old fashioned way, because even on the new submarines, they still have the old fashioned way of looking at things. So he said, this is the way we used to run a submarine. This is the way we used to make things work.
Now the computer doing everything.
Yeah, you can say that
They
for a
know
lot of things.
very good to control or to operate the computer. But if you take out the computer, when I was there once, I said, okay, take out the computer. I'll hold the wheel, handily.
By hand. Okay, Frank asked about the different colors on the map.
You missed one. Was it difficult to be in close quarters with all your fellow sailors for so long?
Huh?
Was it hard to be in the submarine for so long?
No, not at all. And if you will take me now to the submarine, I'm going. I'm telling you.
What was your longest time?
I'm telling you.
What was your longest time?
We believe you.
Longest time?
Yeah.
The longest time that I was with the British submarine, not with the Israeli submarine, 52 days.
Without going up?
Without going up.
In the north over there, 52 days. We are not taking shower. We are not cleaning ourselves. It's very smell in the submarine. And
it's not for you, Alana.
At the end, ate, of course, we didn't have bread and something like that. At the end, we ate, how you call it?
What, dried meat? Dried, yeah.
Sounds
the kind of stuff that you pack when you volunteer on the food base.
But we did it, and I'm telling you, if now somebody would tell me, would you like to go over there and go with the submarine?
For 6 months, he would go.
dried meat, you would say?
No doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt.
Now we're up to that question you saw.
The best
Sorry.
of my life, the best time in my life was when I was submariner. Even after that, when I was an engineer in the submarine, in the Navy, and I deal with the submarine, it's not the same. not the same. I had to operate the submarine.
Too much air, right?
But everyone in his age, and that's it.
Yes, Judy, I'm sorry. It was Walt Whitman, not Longfellow.
Okay, now comes Frank's. What does the different colors on the map mean, signify?
I said that. It doesn't mean anything. It's just.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm looking for the next
I
question.
think Alvin's is just more of a comment.
Oh, and I asked, and then Jimmy, you go by Jimmy, I think. I asked what that piece was that was found by the children in Gaza, and I was told by two different people that it was the emergency beacon, which clearly didn't work the way it was supposed to, I'm guessing. That orange piece that was found, right?
Orange thing that was found by Gaza.
An emergency beacon.
What is that? That's a boy, right?
It's a boy.
A buoy.
It's a buoy that belonged to the submarine. Then they use it when the submarine it sank. And she got to the floor, not more than 200 meters, because the cable is 200 meters. So at the end of the cable, there is a special radio, which work on the battery. And if something happened to the submarine, not more than 200 meters, she can open it and it's going up and start transmitting
electricity, something. So
Subsang, and the name of the submarine and the place, and of course, when it's work, immediately they can find where it is. But this one didn't work. That's the point.
Clearly.
Okay. Gail, you said, yeah, the guy that was announcing it, he said Dakar. He just made a mistake. He wasn't Israeli.
Lisa left, but she asked a question that I think might be interesting, so I didn't know about this. Do authorities think there's any connection between the loss of the Dakar and the loss of several other subs that year? I don't know what submarine she's referring.
There are other submarines that sank around the time that the Dakar did, but they want to know if there was any connection.
No, not connection. It was French.
Right.
It was a French submarine, and very close to the end of the east side of the Mediterranean, but there is no connection. Besides, it was 2 or 3 days before or after. But beside that, that was no connection between them.
Okay. Harry's asking, does Israel not let close relatives serve together in the same place to not let a family possibly suffer too much more if something does go wrong, like with the Dakar?
What?
Basically, yeah.
It's true. I mean, that's true.
Right. Okay.
I mean, people, if one is serving, but it's like that in all armies, I think. It's like that in the U.S. Army, too.
We didn't know if it was the Israeli Army.
No, it's the same. And you have to but there are situations where a sibling wants to serve in the same unit as his sibling, and you have to get special permission and have it be signed by the parents. And Zabo knows a lot of parents of, who have lost children in the IDF, and different stories by some of them saying that another sibling wanted to go and serve into that one. And some parents have said, I didn't want him to, but he insisted. So I gave permission.
Right.
So.
Olga is asking, what's the name of the book you've read in Hebrew and English at the end of the presentation?
Well, it was from Psalms. It was the book of Psalms.
Oh, that's what
okay, prayers, Psalms.
She was referring to.
And as far as the company, I can't think of the name of it. And there was a wonderful, I can't think of the name of the company. I know it, but there was a wonderful National Geographic, a whole show about how that company found the Dakar. And in fact, I taped it years and years and years ago, before I even moved to Israel, and I had an old tape of it, and I wanted to take it and have it made into a, you know, like a disc on key, but I never could find a place to do it. So.
Alvin's asking, are all submarine sailors volunteers?
Huh? Is everybody in the submarine, every submariner, a volunteer?
Yes, only volunteers. In the submarine, there are only volunteers. You cannot take one and send him to the submarine.
Gal gave us a little bit of an answer in terms of that chart, the blue and white, saying it means different depths of water. Is that the case in what you showed us?
We don't know. It was just on the map, because there were some different colors of blue and colors of white. Did it mean anything?
On the map?
Yeah.
Yeah, did they?
Oh, the depth, right.
Okay. So I don't see any more questions. So if you want to...
your question, Alana, there's a ceremony in every January.
Oh, that was my question.
Yeah, every January, at the end of January is the official state ceremony that's serious, with politicians that come and everything. And at the end of May is for families and other people too. I mean, other people come to it, but it's more of, if you want to say, a fun thing, because now, don't forget, there are different generations. There are grandchildren. The captain, Yaakov Ranan, his great grandson is now about 3 years old. We met him, I think, 2 years ago when he was just a baby. And his grandson, Yaakov Ranan's grandson, is a submariner and is an officer in the submarine unit.
He's going to be a captain on the submarine.
Yeah, he'll be a captain on the submarine. So there are different generations now. And so they wanted it to just be more family oriented, something that people could enjoy.
So feel free to unmute yourselves if you have a question. You have a question, right?
Does the dolphin still exist?
Does the dolphin still exist? Is that my dad's asking if the dolphin still
that particular dolphin?
Yeah.
That dolphin that you were on, is it still going now?
Which dolphin?
The dolphin that you transferred to.
No, it's a long time she's not in service. We made what we did with her.
What did you do with her?
We put her near the Sinai, and we make a small port over there. So we put her over there, and we fill it with water. And when we left over there, we tried to take her out, but we couldn't do it. So she's still there in Sinai somewhere.
And by the way, wait a second. Oh, I'm looking at what Mark wrote, and between Mark and Alvin about the different theories about what happened. When the Dakar finished its training in Scotland, it got like a report card, like a certificate and everything, and it got the highest marks of any submarine could get. And we have the original. We actually have the original certificate. It got top marks in every single category. So, there was nothing wrong with it.
I mean, the Titanic was unsinkable. So,
right. Alvin asked about the Eilat. Yeah, the Eilat did sink in 1967.
Yeah, a few months before.
Yeah, a few months before. However, not all of the crew died in that one. There were a lot of survivors. A good friend of Zaba's.
47, I think.
Yes, I didn't read all the comments, Pam, just the question. Yeah. Does anyone else have a question?
I'm telling you, after I hear Pamela this evening, I think she has to get the sign of submariner.
I have one.
No, the commanding officer of the Navy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Of course,
yeah.
Al.
My sense, well, here's my question. Was Israel really ready to have larger ships with larger crews at that time in its history? Because there really wasn't any tradition of an Israeli Navy, any doctrine, any training. Was it premature to have ships like this?
Okay, he's saying at that time in 1967, it was early in the Israel Navy. Okay, was it too early, do you think, to have a big submarine with 69 people?
No. It was not too early. It's only a question of training, because we don't know what happened with the sub. So I don't think it was too early. And next generation, we had small submarine, but now we have more or less the same size of the submarine, the new submarine.
I think that the crews, particularly of a submarine or any ship, the crew has to learn every square inch of each ship to know everything that goes on in a ship. And 6 months of training is what navigation, things like that. But knowing every inch of a ship, particularly a submarine, because if people ask, well, how deep could a submarine go? Well, you know how deep it can go. But so I think that 6 weeks of training is not nearly enough to understand all the intricacies of a submarine, particularly one that was launched in 1943.
Well, they learned every inch of it. He knew every inch of the submarine. So
it sounds like it was some kind of a failure, not of staff or personnel, but of the actual ship itself. And as somebody mentioned earlier, they did everything on the boat and the ship to make it look and to be up to date, but they didn't go in and change any of the interior construction. So there might have been some metal fatigue or something like that. As you say, you'll never know. So it's it's a wonderful effort, because the Dolphin came back just fine. So something happened that we will never know.
A few years ago, they released all the secret information about it, all the papers and everything. It wasn't supposed to be released till 50 years afterwards, but it was released a few years early because the families wanted to know. And we were at the meeting with the head of the Navy and the chief of staff and everybody, and they had all the secret papers, and they said, we'll never know. We'll never know.
Wow. What was your second question?
How come they never brought the whole submarine up?
Why didn't they bring the whole submarine up?
It's impossible to do it. Even now, it's impossible to do it.
You use balloons, big balloons.
It's impossible to. You have to have a 3-kilometer wire, and not only one. Wire that where you put it, it's 3-kilometer wire. How you take it? It's impossible to do it.
Besides, it's a burial place. I mean, why would you want to disturb the burial of 67
Well, that was
people?
the other thing.
I mean, that's a holy place.
Right. Besides the fact that, mechanically it's impossible. I mean, maybe someone can figure out how to do it, but you're right. The families, all the rabbis, everybody said this is exactly what you said. Gabe.
After we found it, most of the families said it's enough for us. At the moment you found, you know more or less where it is, you know more or less what happened there, and it's enough for us. We don't know anything more than that.
It was like closure after 31 years.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions? Feel free to unmute. Mark, I know you know a ton about this. Do you have no questions?
I don't have any questions, just two comments. One is, maybe it was just bad luck. If Pamela knows that I wrote about the Dakar in my earlier book, Army Fatigues, and I noted that it was previously named the HMS Totem under the British Navy, and it had a real American totem pole, a real totem pole from America in it. And the British Navy told the Israelis, it's bad luck if you take that totem pole out, and the Israelis took it out. So it might have been bad luck.
Uh-oh.
Yep. The other thing, just to mention, and Pamela, obviously, Zabo knows this, Israel's issued a stamp to commemorate the loss of the Dakar.
Yes.
If you're a stamp collector, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Was that issued before they found it or after?
Pam, when was it issued?
After.
After it was found?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Who else has fun facts about the Dakar? All right, if there are no more questions, we can wrap it up. And
I'll say, why was it named the Dakar, which was French West Africa at the time? Well, in World War II. Why was it called the Dakar?
The Dakar is a fish. All submarines are named for fish.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was after the French possession. Okay. Oh, sailfish.
Yep.
Okay. I got it.
Every submarine is named after a fish.
Swordfish.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know many fish, but that certainly looks like a swordfish.
Another story that I can tell you, that the Navy at the beginning gave the new submarine, which it's going to be in Israel in a few months now, we gave her the name of Dakar. And the family, not the families, three families, but they were strong.
I hope that's not bad luck.
Complain that it is impossible to use the name.
Interesting.
And they fight for it. And at the end, the commanding officer of the Navy said, okay.
This all started about 4 years ago, and there was fighting going on between these families for several years. And Zabo was on the side that he wanted it to be named the Dakar. But these three or four families just were very, very strong about it. And it wasn't named. It's not.
I can agree with the comment before. It's bad luck.
In the U.S. Navy in 1939, off of Rhode Island.
It's called the Dragon or something. Dracon. Yeah, it's called the Dracon instead. The Navy said, okay, we won't call it the Dakar, but we'll call it something close to it. So it's the Dracon.
So in the United States Navy in 1939 off of Rhode Island, the U.S. fleet submarine, the Squala, sank, and many escaped through breathing apparatus. The sub was raised, and it was renamed the Sailfish, and it served in World War II. So they changed the name.
Not the name of another submarine.
Right. So I just want to thank Pam and Zabo again for the presentation.
Well, thank you for letting us do it. As I told Alana and Steve, I just thought it would be interesting because most people, especially most people not in Israel, don't know. And I think this,
even in Israel.
And I think that this is a story that really is important. So.
I'm surprised I haven't seen it in some sort of documentary or something. It seems like quite the event. So I'm just going to say for the rest of the time here, it'll be a schmooze. The official program is over, but if you'd like to stay and schmooze for a while, you're welcome to. We talk about a bunch of subjects. We try to stay away from politics and just try not to talk over each other. Sort of how we're working this.